So I used to walk into the gym and just get really anxious of like afraid of messing up because I didn't know what I was doing, afraid of people looking at me, right? And this was quite a big issue in my life. I remember just turning up to the gym and just feeling like these big walls of resistance and these big walls of anxiety. I wanted to go in there and work out, but I just couldn't get myself to. I just had like this massive anxiety inside of me, right? I remember I just viewed the gym as like this kind of scary place. I was quite frankly just scared of the gym, right? And I think I can blame social media for this because social media kind of just pushes like the over exaggerated parts of the gym where there's a bunch of guys flexing. The I looked at a lot of Sam Sulek and Schwarzenegger videos, and that was the only impression that I got of the gym before actually being in the gym myself. So how could I not be scared of the gym, right? I remember I used to just sit in the car in the parking lot and just be physically paralyzed out of fear. That's how bad it was. I couldn't even like get out of the car, go and walk to the door of the gym. That's how bad it was. I remember in 2023 and 2024, I used to walk all the way to the gym and then walk all the way back and just feeling like trash that I didn't even go in and work out, or I did go in but I didn't work out because that anxiety had just repelled me away. I remember watching videos of how to get into the gym by like Noel Diesel. All these people on social media saying it's okay, just start off with what you're comfortable with. And this had really messed with my self-esteem because I wanted to go to the gym for so long, but I just couldn't. I just remained in this sedentary lifestyle of wanting to go and knowing that it would grow me as a person, but not going. And then that had just like decayed my mind and ruined my self-esteem. Yeah, it had quite ruined my mental health. Like I remember just going for walks to like the park and whatever, and just going outside and just feeling like trash that I wasn't actually progressing in my health and fitness goals. I just felt quite trash about my physique, to be honest. I knew that the gym would change my life, but I just couldn't get myself to go. And that had really like, yeah, that had just ruined my mental health. I remember I wanted to begin going to the gym in June of 2022, and it was only a year later in 2023 June that I actually got a membership. And then if I continue that timeline, it was only until the end of 2024 that I actually started going to the gym. So I was procrastinating for pretty much 3 years of wanting to go to the gym, but just being stopped by anxiety. I remember at the beginning of 2024, like those January to April months, I remember just looking at myself in the mirror and just feeling like total trash because I knew what action I had to take to fix that, but I just couldn't take action because I was blocked by anxiety. It was just like this negative vicious cycle of knowing what action to take but not taking that action, being driven by dissatisfaction of my current situation but not actually trying to change it or seeing it change. Right, that had really just decayed my mental health. So how did I actually get into the gym? Because I mentioned to you that I did actually begin going to the gym at the end of 2024, which was in December. What I did was I progressively overloaded myself into the gym. I told you that I used to sit in the car and literally just be paralyzed by fear. And I can pinpoint that to my goal being too big, right? I expected myself to do a full workout, when I couldn't even do one machine, let alone walk into the gym. I had this period of like a few weeks where I'd just walk into the gym, go up to the locker room, which was just before the actual gym upstairs, and then just walk out and do that every day so that I could slowly integrate myself into the gym. And then when I was comfortable with that, I'd just walk in, do one machine, and then walk out for another few weeks, and then do two machines, up until I was actually doing full workouts. Right, I just did small chunks of my big goal, which was to do a full workout. And this is a principle of the gym anyway, right? Like if your big goal is 100 kg on a particular exercise, you can only really start off with 25 now and build yourself up slowly. And that's what I did when I had this like big wall of anxiety, which just put me in my upper limit of fear. My goal of doing a full workout while also having like these false associations with the gym of being a scary place was just too big for me to handle. I had to like slowly integrate myself into it and slowly become comfortable with it. I also did get personal training sessions in the middle of 2023 and towards the end of 2024, and that had really made me that had really helped me to understand the processes of working out and exercising and what exercises to do, so that I wasn't so completely lost. And I was kind of weightlifting before going to the gym, but those were mostly just home workouts, like using dumbbells at home and just doing push-ups at home. So this was quite a big step for me in life. I remember when I was in that state of wanting to go to the gym, I was really confident that the gym would be something that would change my life. And now that I've been in the gym for, I'd say, 14 months now, I can proudly say that it has changed my life. I remember when I began doing like those first workouts by myself and really getting into the gym, I could feel like my dopamine and serotonin was just higher, right? I just felt more proud of myself and I just got more hype for myself. The gym has taught me the resilience of continuing something even though it's hard, right? It's taught me that lesson. Because I have definitely had times where I just don't want to do it, but I do it anyway. Because I just know that it's something that has to be done. Like, I began in December of 2024, and then continuing into the start of 2025, I was actually dealing with like low testosterone issues where I just feel fatigued under the weight and I couldn't even lift the weight. I was still going to the gym and persisting even though I was feeling like that, right? The gym has taught me to continue even when I'm seeing no results, even when I'm in this plateau of latent potential. If you've read the book Atomic Habits, you'd know what that is. I was also like dealing with sicknesses for the whole of 2025, but I still kept going, and it has made me more disciplined, quite frankly. Like, I have the discipline to record this video right now, even though I don't want to. It has taught me the discipline to ride all the way to the gym, then ride all the way back, which is a difficult thing to do, to be honest. So yeah, I was confident that the gym would change my life before I started going, and I'm confident to say that it has changed my life after I've been going for a while now. I think a lot of guys can relate to this, and I just feel regret that I didn't begin going in June of 2022 when the desire had first arisen in my mind that I wanted to go. I did wish I began going at that age of 14 when the desire had first come into my mind, and I remember feeling quite bad, like seeing other 14-year-olds and 15-year-olds getting into the gym, and then I was just like watching that, wanting to do that, but feeling quite bad because I was blocked by anxiety, which kept me from doing that. The reason I couldn't overcome this anxiety was because I just didn't know like the principles of life and the principles of pain, and that something is going to be uncomfortable for you until it is familiar, right? I didn't know like the concept of your comfort zone. I didn't know the concept of your upper limit being a scary place. I just thought to myself, the gym is scary, so I'm not going. Even though I had like this deep desire inside of me that it was something that I wanted to do. I was just like this 14, 15 year old who was just stuck inside and scared of the world. I didn't expose myself to the world enough to really know these principles, that something is going to be painful, but you will develop a tolerance for it if you keep exposing yourself to it, right? You do become more mentally stronger. And I would also accredit the anxiety to just like more generalized anxiety that you get from frying your dopamine receptors with social media. Like the general depression and anxiety that you get when you live an unhealthy life, coupled with just genuinely being afraid of the gym. There were other things that I procrastinated on in life as well. Like I wanted to begin posting content like this at that age, but I don't know, I just had this belief in my mind that I was too young. I just thought 14-year-olds can't do that. 14-year-olds can't go to the gym. I'm too young for that. I remember I used to have quite profound anxiety in other areas of life, right? And it had used to be quite bad when I was younger. I remember going to this martial arts club when I was around the ages of 12, and I remember I used to literally get sick in the class because of how anxious I was. And I used to be like hyperventilating before class, needing to do these breathing exercises. I remember just being so self-conscious at school and just being afraid of what other people were thinking of me. I had such like weird habits of keeping my hands in my pockets because I thought people were judging me for my hands. I remember like not even being able to walk into a restaurant because I was just so afraid of what other people were thinking of me, even though I was looking around and no one was looking at me. So it was just like this issue inside of me that was just eating away at me. I remember not even too long ago in like 2023 and 2024, I used to have panic attacks. Like just thinking about the future, thinking about doomsday, which is gonna happen. And I want to compare this anxiety of the past to the anxiety that I have now. The anxiety that I have now is much more under my control, right? Like I have a job now, and when I went to the interview for that job, I was nervous, but I was confident, right? If I went to that interview when I was 14 or 15 or even younger, I would have been much more anxious. I wouldn't even believe that I could even go to the interview. When I was training for the job, I was surrounded by people who I didn't know, who I'd never seen before. And if that was something that I was pushed into at that younger age when I was so anxious, I would have gotten really anxious, right? I would just be thinking like, who are these people? What are they saying? What are they gonna think of me? What are they gonna say to me? Now I have the power to walk into a place and not even feel anxiety, right? And the only time I would feel anxiety is if I'm afraid of something that I do believe could genuinely harm me. I had this big anxiety of messing up and being afraid of what other people would think of me and being afraid of making a fool of myself when I was younger. Now when I mess up, like when you're in a new job, or you're given a task which you've never done before, you are gonna mess up and make mistakes, right? And I did make a lot of mistakes when I began this job. I did mess up and make a fool of myself, but I'm in this state now where I just don't care, right? I don't care what other people think of me, even if I messed up and made a fool of myself. That would have been something that would have really got into my head when I was in 6th grade to 10th grade, when I was at the ages of 10 to 14, 15. I talked about exposing myself to the world earlier in this video, and I can accredit my loss of anxiety, my reduction of anxiety, to exposing myself more to the world, right? Because when I was at that age of just being really anxious of everything, just being so self-conscious, I was just in this state of being locked inside my house, not wanting to go outside, not even going outside. Just being afraid of the world. So how could I not be afraid of the world if I wasn't exposing myself to the world? I'm at this position now where I'm actually getting out there and putting myself through challenges. So you realize that the world is not gonna kill you, right? That your fears are largely just unfounded and largely just irrational. I am less anxious because I've exposed myself to those anxieties and have made my brain realize that they ain't all that. And because of generally living a healthy lifestyle where I'm not damaging my brain and giving myself depression and anxiety, that had required me to take action, right? I found that my anxiety reduced when I began taking action. My anxiety had, I'd say, ended at the end of 2024, which is when I began going to the gym, right? I took action towards going to the gym, and then that change had happened in my life. Because I remember that I was a big inaction taker instead of an action taker, right? I'd have a desire in my mind, and then I'd just procrastinate and be telling myself that I'm thinking about it instead of actually going to do it. All of those panic attacks that I had in 2023 and 2024, the solution to those was just to just begin posting content. So I felt like I was progressing towards a goal in life, but I just didn't take action. So the anxiety just perpetuated. So, my anxiety literally just stopped when I began taking action towards what I wanted to in life. So, my anxiety literally just stopped when I began taking action towards what I wanted to and towards what was in my heart in life, and leveling up my ability to deal with pain, my ability to go outside of my comfort zone. I feel like this video has just become about anxiety, but I just wanted to tell you that story of how I've been able to overcome my anxiety. And I definitely do experience I definitely do experience anxiety now, but not things like gym anxiety. I definitely have come a long way in improving my mental health and becoming a more resilient person, and my anxiety has reduced significantly because of that.